My name is Linda Weisinger. I'm the Executive Director here at Pawtucket Central Falls Development Corporation. Pawtucket Central Falls Development Corporation, also known as PCF Development, is a nonprofit affordable housing developer. We're a community-based organization, and we've been developing affordable housing for over 30 years in Pawtucket and Central Falls. So I want to welcome everyone today on this exciting day and a big announcement for first-time home buyers in Rhode Island. So we're excited to have this press conference today. I wanted to talk a little bit about PCF development and specifically some of the barriers that first-time home buyers face when it comes to purchasing a home. Right now, the lack of affordable housing inventory is a significant barrier to advancing sustainable homeownership. The current real estate market is hotter than ever. I think we all know the cost of real estate is out of touch and out of not affordable for many buyers in this market. Right now in Rhode Island, the single family median price in January 22 was $375,000 for a single family house. And a multifamily house at the end of 2021 was $365,000 for a two-family house. Today, we stand in a property that PCF Development has developed in support with funding that we received from the state of Rhode Island, from City of Pawtucket, and also from Rhode Island Housing. So together, we are standing in 68 Middle Street, which is a two-family house. So this house will be sold to a first-time home buyer, an owner-occupant, an income-qualified buyer. The sales price for this house is $269,000. So that's really affordable. When we know that the median income for a median sales price for a two-family house is over $365,000. So to be able to provide homeownership opportunities for first-time home buyers is something that is our mission. It's what we do as an organization. Fortunately, there are groups like PCF Development in the state who are creating affordable homeownership opportunities, and we're developing single-family houses. We have two-family houses. We also have condominiums that we have for sale. So together, we're creating a variety of homeownership opportunities that individuals and households are looking to purchase. What's exciting is of these 5 houses that you see and that you stand in now, the first house we sold a month ago, next door at 78 Middle Street. This house is scheduled to close next week. So we're closing with another first-time home buyer next week, and then the house, the third house, we are closing next month. So we typically pre-sell our houses early stages of construction, which is really exciting. But recognizing, again, one of the barriers in the state that many buyers are facing are the fact that the significant down payment that's required to purchase houses. So we'll talk a little bit more about the new down payment program that's starting, that we'll be introducing. Let's see. And then in addition to developing affordable housing, PCF Development is a HUD-approved counseling agency. We have a robust homeownership program, which really focuses on education as one of our primary pillars of the program. And we graduate over 150 prospective home buyers a year through our bilingual program. So that's 150 each year, and we graduated over 750 potential buyers from our program just in the past several years. Our clients for our program represent a diverse set of backgrounds, and the majority, 80%, identify as families of color, individuals of color. Since 2016, 80% of our 750 graduates identify as Black or Latinx. So the number of Spanish-speaking households represents over 60% of our 60% of our participants identify as Hispanic. So one thing we recognize, there's a clear disparity in the state when it comes to the availability and accessibility of homeownership programs for first-time home buyers and families of color specifically. And we know that homeownership creates generational wealth and it creates housing stability. So together, when we talk about programs that we'll talk about today, when we talk about affordable housing, it really comes down to 2 parts, which ties in accessibility and affordability. We can't talk all day long about affordability, but if we don't have houses that families can buy, then families are priced out of the market. So programs like PCF Development provide this homeownership opportunity for families in the community to be able to stay in the community, buy in the community, and own a piece of real estate. So, as I mentioned, one of the largest barriers to homeownership is the down payment. This new program will eliminate that as a barrier and provide assistance to prospective homebuyers. The $25,000 down payment could be nearly 10% of the median sales price of a property for a single-family house. So one thing that we want to highlight again is the pre-purchase homebuyer education component, which educates buyers before they ever purchase a house. So again, graduating 750 participants in our program over the last few years, we know that an educated buyer is a stable homeowner, and that really leads to success and housing stability in the community. So just to kind of give you a little perspective on PCFD and who we are and give context to this property, we will be offering tours after the event upstairs, so please stay tuned for that. And I want to start by introducing the Honorable Governor of the state of Rhode Island, Dan Mckee. And Governor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your work. Very important messaging that you're delivering there, and delivering a lot of hope to families as well. And I would just say quickly a personal story that is real is that I did coach a lot of basketball, and coming from different economic circumstances, certainly different communities, and two of the young kids that I coached, one of them bought a home about 6 or 7 years ago, and one of them, the brothers, was renting, right, and raising their family, and just recently the young man that bought his home just sold his home and brought a great deal of equity out of that home, 6-figure equity out of his home, and now actually bought a home in my hometown of Cumberland. So it's real, all right. And his brother actually just bought a home that he was renting for all those years, and now he's going to build up equity as well. But you just saw the comparison between being able to build up equity in a family and the one who's renting and still raising the family, doing what they're supposed to be doing. But homeownership is really a key for all of us, certainly a key for my family as well, in terms of having the ability to send our kids to college. I was just talking about somebody that, we use our line of credit to pay our college tuitions for our kids. Well, if you don't have a line of home, you don't have the ability to do the line of credit. So I want to just thank you for your leadership, and I'm really pleased to be here today with Lieutenant Governor Matos, along with Mayors Griffin and Rivera. Thank you for your leadership on this issue, a very important one, and we certainly share the objective of helping people earn more money and to save more money. And so you're champions in your communities. And being here in Pawtucket, we could be here in Central Falls as well, and today is an important step for the residents of all Rhode Islanders, but also Pawtucket and Central Falls with your leadership, who want to own homes, and that we set it up in a way where they can afford to own a home, and afford to be able to pay the mortgage payments. When did you think that you could have a 30-year mortgage at 3%? Oh my God. I don't want to even tell you how far back I go, and that was not the case. Trust me, that was all, we had to use very creative strategies as we were starting to earn a living to do it. But 3% on 30 years, that opens up a lot of doors, doesn't it? And what we're going to be announcing today, in terms of providing General Assembly support, that only makes it more possible. So I want to recognize my administration's team, especially Commerce Secretary Stephen Pryor, who's been working on this, Deputy Secretary of Housing Josh Saul, and Carol Ventura from the Rhode Island Housing. Thank you, Carol, for your leadership here. Many of you have heard me say this before. If we expect our sons and daughters to live in Rhode Island, how can we expect them to be here unless they can afford to live here and to have a future and to have the ability to earn a living here? So that means housing is really important. And whether it's supporting from the spectrum, from homelessness all the way up to fair market value. The state of Rhode Island needs a housing plan. We're asking the General Assembly to appropriate dollars to allow us to put a good housing plan together that really talks about all the spectrums, all 39 cities and towns, in terms of how we can actually move in a situation where there's higher levels of homeownership. Historically, we've underinvested in housing. We are experiencing a housing shortage, in part because too few units have been built over several years. In 2020 alone, we built fewer units per capita than any other state in New England. That's something that we need to be number one. We're number one now in vaccinations. We know that in the country. We're number one in reopening our economy in the Northeast. Why not, search for excellence in every area and every aspect? Hey, Stefan, how are you? I don't know if you just walked in, but thank you. Okay. Anyway, there's too many Rhode Islanders who have not had the opportunity to buy their own home. In fact, did you know that Rhode Island has one of the lowest home ownership rates in the country? Largely because families and individuals cannot afford the down payment. So we're here today to close that wealth gap and knock down barriers and inequities that have existed for too long, that have prevented families from pursuing homeownership. This is an important move today. As a former realtor, but in my earlier life too, I understand the difficulties of getting approved and to getting into that first home. Once you get in that first home, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to move on. So it builds generational wealth, and that's why we're so excited to announce this down payment assistance program, so we can open those doors for first generation home buyers in Rhode Island. And this program is just the start. In my 2023 budget, with assistance from many people and many individuals, our proposal includes $50 million to provide down payment assistance to Rhode Island households who need it most. And for those who understand that $50 million is going to get leveraged into hundreds of millions of dollars worth of profit. That's the point. How to take dollars that you have and leverage them in a way where you make a significant difference in terms of, in this case, homeownership for first-time home buyers. And I've said it before that housing crisis is one of our top priorities. It is shared by both the House leadership with Speaker Sakachi, along with the Senate leadership with President Ruggiero, and of course with all our municipal leaders around the state of Rhode Island, and all the support systems that we have in people who have been at this for years. And I think that you're just chopping at the bit, Carol, right, to kind of make this stuff happen, right? Yes, absolutely. So we need to increase the availability and the quality of housing in Rhode Island, and oftentimes we immediately think of rental assistance and other programs that help get people into affordable housing. Rental programs are still very important, but we no longer can be that state is trailing the other states in terms of home ownership, and providing a path into home ownership that makes sure that they can sustain themselves between the economic upsides and the economic downturns. We know that we ran across in 2008 several people who probably shouldn't have been in the home ownership, couldn't sustain themselves. That's why I'm so happy that you got education going on in this process, and educating people about how to be a landlord as much as being a homeowner, right? I could have used those courses way back when I was buying some property way back when. But what about helping Rhode Islanders achieve this dream? A goal of owning their own home. And that is where this program is going to really pay big dividends. I'm proud to have launched this pilot program with Rhode Island Housing and all of our state, local, and community partners, and I'm looking forward to its progress in helping Rhode Islanders own their first home, invest in their financial success, invest in their family's financial success, and provide that stability and wealth for their family members down the line. So thank you for having me here today, and looking forward to making this program a reality by some General Assembly support, right? That's what we're going to need now. So we all work hard, everybody in this room and beyond this room, to make that happen. I promise you that this is going to be a very successful program for thousands of people that live in the state of Rhode Island and their generations that follow as well. So thank you for having me here today.
Thank you, Governor. Next, we have Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure for me to be here with all of you to announce this very important program that is going to be helping to change the life of so many individuals in the state of Rhode Island. This is a program that for all of those individuals that have dreamed of being homeowners, that never thought they could do it, that never thought there was an opportunity for them to have ownership, because one of the big barriers is to have a down payment that they can afford to buy the property. So this program is the key part of that puzzle that is gonna make it possible for them to be able to buy a house. And when you own a house, there's so many things that are influence homeownership and have a ripple effect on the quality of life of the individuals of the state of Rhode Island, of the United States. A lot of individuals have been suffering because they have to move too often. It could be because the property that they have been renting, they're raising their rent, and they're not able to keep up with the rent rising costs going every month. But once they become a homeowner, that gives them stability, and that also translates on stability for the students, because they don't have to be moving from one school district to another, from one school to another, because they finally have a stable place to be and a stable place to live. Imagine the impact that has on a mother that has been living in a small apartment, maybe a one-bedroom apartment with their kids, and finally is able to buy a house like this one that have 2 or 3 bedrooms available, and have finally that peace of mind and that quiet moment. And many of us, our parents, know sometimes you have the extra room, but the kids still sleep with you, right? So we go through that. But the peace of mind of knowing that they finally have a home, have a place that is quiet, that their kids are gonna be safe, that they're gonna have a house, that they're gonna be responsible for making sure that it's safe and healthy. They're not living in an apartment that someone maybe is not maintaining, that is creating a health hazard for their children because of mold or because of lead. So this is this pilot program is a great demonstration that we can have in place and to continue our advocacy with the state General Assembly. And as I have Senator Cano is here with us on double duty. So we're gonna switch her hat and we're gonna start advocating for the program to make it permanent also. So we're gonna ask the General Assembly to support the governor's budget that is proposing a down payment assistance as part of the historic in the state of Rhode Island. For the first time, we have $250 million dedicated to housing. So with that, I just want to say thank you, and I'm looking forward to continue to advocate to make this program a permanent program in the future, but I always like pilots.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. You inspired me to tell a story about the first home buyer on the street next door. She was a PCFD tenant for over 7 years and lived in an affordable home and worked really hard, saved money, and achieved her dream of home ownership last month. So again, it's possible for any tenant, any renter, where you don't have to be at the mercy of your landlord, and you can really work towards purchasing your own home. And this program is going to do amazing things towards helping a family achieve that goal. So yeah, it just inspires me to tell the story of our first home buyer next door. So hopefully we have lots of stories like that to tell as we sell each house. So thank you for that. Next on the agenda we have Josh Saul. He's a Deputy Secretary of Commerce for Housing. Josh?
Thank you, Linda, and thank you everyone for being here, and to the governor for his leadership on housing, and to Carol Ventura, the executive director of Rhode Island Housing, who has been at the vanguard of proposing this very, very special initiative that will provide first-generation homeowners with an opportunity to own their homes. I'm not going to go through a whole history lesson here, but needless to say, in the United States, homeownership is an important part of the housing landscape. Back earlier in the century, in the 1950s, we had a lot of homeownership projects, but too many generations have been left behind and have not been able to participate in homeownership and the benefits that come to it, whether it's housing stability or building wealth and passing that wealth through multiple generations. It's a very important part of our housing initiatives. And as many mentioned, one of many programs that we are investing in housing with up to or $250 million in housing that the governor has proposed. I'll keep my comments brief as there are a lot of other speakers, but I want to again thank everyone who has worked on this, and thank you, Linda, just for hosting us today and the great work that's going on here in Rhode Island that we hope to continue.
Thank you. Next we have Mayor Donald Griffin.
So good afternoon and welcome to the great affordable city of Pawtucket. To think about what has been said. First, Governor, thank you for your leadership. Lieutenant Governor Carol, the new czar, Stefan from the Commerce. It takes a team to make this happen. Everybody in this room knows how important it is to make sure that we are providing those essential services and opportunities for our home buyers and our first-time home buyers, I should say, but our people in Pawtucket as well. Selfishly, and I know she's going to be speaking next, but in my sister city of Central Falls, Mayor Rivera, we have the pleasure and the opportunity and really that exciting partnership with PCF. And PCF, to Linda and her team, have been doing this, and for some of us that have been here for a long time, remember this PCDC, but PCF have been doing this work when a lot of times the money hasn't been there. They cut, they scrape, and they pull dollars together, and they've been doing this. So your leadership and these additional dollars for first-time home buyers is exceptional, and we appreciate that, knowing it's going to go a long way. I do want to recognize a couple of folks here as everybody knows, Sandra Cano, who is our senator, but also is the Commerce Director of Pawtucket, and also we have Paul McFarland, our Housing Authority Director, and many people in this room. Thank you for your leadership. You've been doing that all from the ground up. You've educated folks like me that are in the position to get out of the way and get these things done. So Linda, I appreciate that. I will tell you, because I have to do the Pawtucket story, so you can tell that politics runs in the family. So, this morning, because I knew it was airtight until this morning, we could talk about it, I said to my children, who's my 22-year-old daughter and my 20-year-old son, and I got to tell a funny story. Here's an opportunity. I want you to think about this. My daughter is already out on her own, but my son I'm trying to help get out a little bit so my wife and I can have the house back. But all seriousness, you can tell that they come from a political family because their first question was, after I explained that there was $25,000, can we combine it and live in the same house? I said, no, that's not how the rules work. But all seriously, Governor, thank you for your leadership, Lieutenant Governor, and everybody else in this room for getting this done and getting this opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. So Pawtucket Central Falls, we are a nonprofit group serving the cities essentially of Pawtucket and Central Falls. So we work closely with Mayor Griffin, and we also work very closely with Mayor Rivera. So I'd like to introduce Mayor Rivera from Central Falls.
Buenas tardes, good afternoon. It's so nice to be here with all of you today, especially on this PCF development property. Thank you so much, Linda, for everything that you do for Central Falls and Pawtucket. I want to give a special thank you to Governor Dan Mckee, Carol Ventura from Rhode Island Housing, Stephen Pryor from Commerce, and Josh Sell, the new Deputy Secretary, for all of the work that you've been doing. I have been hunting you down for the last year. The conversations we have had about the lack of housing in Central Falls and the projects that need to be worked on are something that I have really, taken to heart and worked really hard for, and I want to thank you for all of the work that you have done. I know that some good projects are going to come from these conversations, and housing is a priority for all of us. So thank you, and thank you, Sabina, Matos, and Mayor Griffin, and Senator Cano for your advocacy for housing too. If you know me, you know that one of my main priorities is housing, which is why I've been such a huge advocate for it. The home ownership rate in Central Falls is 19%. This new pilot program will help overcome these significant barriers. A two-parent household making minimum wage in Central Falls will never be able to raise $25,000 for a down payment for a home. So this program is a very special and unique program for the residents of Central Falls and Pawtucket, and I know that there's other communities that this is going to help. It's going to lead our families to stable housing, equity, and long-term success, and at the same time help our economy. So I want to thank you all who have taken part in putting this program together, and I look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Next on the agenda, we have Carol Ventura, the Executive Director from Rhode Island Housing.
Well, I don't have a funny Pawtucket story, but I did grow up in Pawtucket, so there you go. I'm so happy to be here today with our partner, Linda Weisinger, and the Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Mayors Rivera, Grebby, and Josh, to announce a new program to help first-generation homebuyers achieve the American dream. The spring home buying season is on the horizon, and we are now poised to launch our first gen product that will provide $25,000 in down payment assistance to first generation buyers living in eligible communities. Barriers to homeownership exist for many low-income and minority households, and this is especially true for first generation homebuyers. Many young people benefit from assistance provided by families to purchase their first home. I benefit from my parents to buy my first home. But for many first-generation homebuyers, assistance is not an option. So that's why this program is so critical, to provide the assistance these folks need to purchase a home and start down the path of wealth building and to pay it forward and full and full. For years, Rhode Island Housing has offered down payment assistance to our borrowers because coming up with a down payment is typically the biggest hurdle to buying your first home. First Gen RI represents our commitment to providing programs and products that address historical barriers to homeownership and to ensure equity and accessibility in mortgage financing. Our governor knows how important homeownership is to wealth building. That's why he proposed $50 million in a statewide down payment assistance program in his budget. This investment will build upon existing products that we have in Rhode Island and create more homeownership opportunities for Rhode Islanders. I want to thank our partners, PCFDC, for inviting us to make this announcement here at the Middle Street development, where you are expanding opportunities for first-time homebuyers. We appreciate that. And you're educating first-time homebuyers on how to keep their homes. So thank you for that. Working together, we can open doors for more people to buy their home and to build wealth for themselves and for their future children. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. So, yeah, I mean, I think the one takeaway today is really recognizing that we need to promote homeownership. We know that it creates economic wealth, generational wealth, and housing stability for households across the state. Just want to, again, I think as we talk about a lot of statistics, Rhode Island's Latino homeownership rate is 29% as compared to 67% for white households. So again, we talk about disparities, inequities, and through programs like this program today, we really can address and close that gap of the homeownership rates and increase the homeownership rate in Central Falls specifically. And I think as a result of nationwide homeownership gap, the average household wealth of white Americans is about $130,000 as compared to $17,000 for Latinos. So again, recognizing the importance of this program, the impact it will make on such a statewide level with all the communities that are participating in this program. So again, the $25,000 is an extremely useful tool to move prospective buyers one step closer towards achieving their dream of homeownership. With programs such as this, we will see an increase in the homeownership rate across Rhode Island, specifically related to this program. So as we wrap up, let's spread the word about this new down payment program and the actual housing opportunities that are available here at PCF Development, so we can help families buy their home, own their home, while being an educated home buyer through the process. So thank you for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Yeah.
The 25,000 is a gift. People have to pay it back. How do you want to work? What's the catch? Because you're giving $25,000. What are we going to do with that money? Who's going to get the money back when they pay it? Island Housing, one of these non-profit organization, or the person you're giving the money?
Well, as was mentioned, this is not the first type of program that has been introduced either in the state or regionally. Massachusetts has a strong program right now. I'll let Carol, so I'm not sure the details about how it works and who's going to qualify, but there's going to be qualifications just like there is in Massachusetts, just like there are in other states. And again, this is not the first time that we've had assistance in terms of first-time owner buyers. I mean, I think there was a $7,500 credit towards homeownership 10 years ago that helped families get into homes. So this is not unusual, but it will be done in a way that is, that we have a certain procedure and qualifications will be followed, and there'll be a process that will be accepting people into the program, whether it's up to $25,000 too, I believe, right? So.
Like I was explaining.
So when did you have to apply?
We need to know what the money is going to be going for.
So it's a forgivable loan over a 5-year period. So if the home buyer stays in their home for 5 years, they get all of the benefit of the $25,000. Okay, and we are live. Go to our website, start applying. I know we've already had applications coming in, so please spread the word. Let's get the word out. It's great. Look at this beautiful home that someone about, right? And there's 3 more coming, Linda.
There
so
are.
let's spread the word, right?
And is the $50 million all going to be administered by Rhode Island Housing? And applications could come from here, from any of those communities that are listed in the initial lease, is that right?
So this is a pilot program being administered by Rhode Island Housing with Rhode Island Housing Resources. We anxiously await the $50 million that the governor wants to launch, right? And then we'll get that out the door. And this is a program that's really targeted to what we would consider to be lower opportunity areas. So Pawtucket, Central Falls, communities like that. The governor's program is statewide.
You have money in hand to begin this program?
Yes, we do.
How much are we talking?
We have $1 million in the pilot.
Ms. Weisinger, maybe you could, Pat Ford, Coalition Radio, give us maybe a little education, since we've gotten a great education already today in affordable housing, how your organization works. I'm looking at your 2020 Form 990, and I see a lot of confusing things to the layman. Development fees of $578,000, $500,000 in federal grants, an executive salary of $100,000. Where does your organization make its money? And maybe just lay that whole food chain out.
Yeah, so our organization is 60% of our organization's budget is typically from fees we earn, fees that's developers' fees. Mm-hmm. So when we develop projects, we earn a fee for those projects. So 60% of that, the remainder are funds that we do through charitable foundations, grants that we write, all different sources that fill the gap for the needs that we do and the services that we provide in the community.
So as a not-for-profit, I'm looking at about $400,000 in associated salaries in addition to that. How does that money then, from the profit of this, and how much is the profit on a home like this to your organization? How does that drill down then to members of your organization or the public?
So, I mean, as an organization, you need people to do the work.
Right.
So you have to have people to do the work. So what you're looking at are salaries for people to do the work. We're an organization of 10. We're probably one of the leanest nonprofits in the housing world in the state. So I would say that we need people to do the work. We need people to sell the houses. We need people to oversee the construction. We need people to handle the finance. We need people to handle our real estate development programs. That's exactly what the organization does. But I would say we're one of the most lean organizations in the state when it comes to housing.
All right, so final question. What is the takeaway from this? Is there a percentage charged to the sales price of the building to your organization?
So as a nonprofit organization, just like a for-profit developer, you have a budget, you have a pro forma, there's a total development cost, and incorporated in that, there's a developer fee. And for an organization, that's what we do. Maybe $20,000, $30,000 for each one of these houses for the 2 years we spent on these projects. So again, it's the time, the investment spent in qualifying all these buyers and moving these projects forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if anyone would like a tour, we will head out.